Hello, everyone. So I'm Jenny Hallett, and my loving 26-year-old daughter, Brittany Rose Hallett, died from the agonizing brain disease of alcohol addiction almost 5 years ago, coming up on November 5th, back on 2014. So here's a photo of her. So that was the day that my world came crashing down. When I came home to find my sweet baby girl dead in her bed. It was the most horrific experience of my life that continues with my daily agonizing grief that is always at the surface of everything that I will ever do. Brittany had everything going for her until alcohol got its hooks in her. She was a straight A student her entire life until she started getting D's and F's right at the end in college. She only had about 13 credits left to get her bachelor degree in accounting. She had a boyfriend who she loved dearly, and he loved her as well. They had kids' names picked out, a ring picked out. I just knew that they were going to get married until one day he kicked her out. I suspect that her alcohol dependency had a big role in that. So I had no idea that she had a problem with alcohol at that time. And I told her she could come and move back home with me to get her feet back under her. About a month later, she was hallucinating from alcohol withdrawals. She saw zombies trying to get into our house. She was crying hysterically and was frantically trying to barricade with kitchen chairs in front of our glass patio door to keep them out. We sent her to one of the best rehab facilities in the country, but at $16,000, and that was half off for just 30 days, who can afford to do that for very long? She needed much longer treatment because she had an acute case of alcoholism. She had the highest BAC, or blood alcohol concentration, that the ER doctor ever saw anyone survive at 0.62. Addiction to alcohol or any drug is a very isolating disease. It was hard for her to do anything with friends because most social events involve drinking alcohol. So she ended up sitting at home with no friends ever coming around, which only fueled her depression, causing her to drink even more to not feel, as she called it. One of the final straws that seemed to break her spirits was when her student loan debt started accruing interest because she was too sick to attend school anymore. I could just see the despair swallowing her up. She just could not see a way out. So she drank even more alcohol to numb the pain away. After Brittany died, she received a denial for alcoholism disability. She had been rushed to the ER room several times by ambulance in the last year and a half. She had pancreatitis and esophageal varices caused by her alcoholism, which were both extremely life-threatening. If she didn't qualify for a disability to alcoholism, then what does it take? I think she thought that the disability would freeze the interest until she could get into recovery. Brittany died just 5 days after her favorite holiday, Halloween, in 2014. So this is a pretty tough time of year for me. On the very night that she died, I dedicated the rest of my life to helping others still struggling as Brittany did. Although Brittany was only addicted to alcohol, I try to help all people afflicted with the agonizing brain disease of addiction, no matter the substance. After she died, I got trained in how to administer naloxone, which is generic Narcan that reverses an opioid overdose. Just 9 days later, I helped save a stranger's life with it. It was the most miraculous thing I've ever witnessed. And then I bawled my eyes out because I thought about his mom, who would never know how close she just came to losing her baby boy that would have caused her to grieve with every single breath she would ever take. So everyone should get trained in how to administer Narcan. Most people don't think of alcohol when they hear the word addiction, but the legal drug of alcohol kills more than all other drugs. There are 88,000 alcohol-related deaths every year in the US. With 1 in 12 adults having a drinking problem in the US, I'm trying to warn the public about the very real and present danger of alcohol. Did you know that a person can be a social drinker for decades, and yet they can still become addicted to alcohol down the road? There's no formula to know who will become addicted or when. By the time someone realizes they've crossed over that invisible line into alcoholism, it's too late. They're in for the fight for their very life. Although alcohol comes in a liquid form that many people think tastes nice, and although alcohol is glorified in our society, it still is a drug that is as dangerous as other drugs. We somehow justify that it's safe because it's legal and it's popular to consume. But it's still a drug just as dangerous, if not more, than as other illegal drugs. And yet, we don't hear all that much awareness being created about alcohol addiction by our politicians and the media. Why is that? I want to create just as much awareness about alcohol addiction as there is about opioids and other drugs. Many people will quit using one substance only to start up with a different substance. Although each substance has its own issues to be dealt with, the real problem that we're facing is an alcohol and all other drugs addiction pandemic. As I said, I try to help people struggling with addiction no matter their substance. I'd like to ask everyone else to do the same thing too. Whenever you're talking about the opioid epidemic, please also bring up the much needed attention to the terrible dangers of alcohol. Please also fight to get more affordable help for them too. I recently was honored to be selected out of about 1,000 applicants to be included in the 150 participants to attend the first annual Mobilized Recovery event that was organized by the nationally renowned advocate, Ryan Hampton. Many of you probably know of him. They brought 150 advocates together from all across the country, every state, so that we can work together to promote recovery initiatives, starting from the grassroots level. They recently launched their Recovery Advocacy Project website. So based on the surveys that they took at the Mobilized Recovery event, they're creating training materials, videos, and webinars to help advocates learn how to be more productive and efficient. They're teaching us how to do what we want to learn how to do in our advocacy work. And you can find that website at www.recoveryadvocacyproject.com. I met a lady at the Mobilized Recovery event who was from Shatterproof. Shatterproof is a national organization that helps to give people like me a voice to help create awareness to the public and to legislators about alcohol and other drug addiction. She helped me to become a Shatterproof ambassador, which is my honor. They invited me to share my story onto their blog page, where I wrote about saving the young man's life with naloxone. You can still find my August 23rd post on their blog. Their website is at www.shatterproof.org. And I also have a website called Brittany's Alcoholism, Counseling, and Prevention, with a link to my special Facebook page, where I share information about alcoholism. And that website can be found at www.shatterproof.org. BrittanysAcap.com. I also have a YouTube channel under that same name where I post videos about alcohol addiction. So I have handouts about mobilized recovery, shatterproof, and my website, and I'll be happy to share those with you. For anyone struggling with addiction, please reach out for help today, since addiction is a progressive brain disease. For anyone who believes that their loved one might be better off without them, I promise you that is absolutely not true. Your loved ones only want you to be healthy and happy. Don't let the disease of addiction take you down and cause them a lifetime of grief over the loss of you. Fight hard for the health and happiness that you deserve. And for those that are in recovery, that might still be feeling guilty for what you put your loved ones through, I want you to know that I'd give my life to have my daughter back in recovery. I never blamed her for her addiction. She had nothing to be ashamed of, to feel guilty for. Addiction is something that happens to you. The best advice I have for you and your loved ones is to embrace the healthy future that you have, totally guilt-free. And for those that are in recovery who might be feeling guilty, that they're alive while others have died from addiction, please don't feel guilty. Live your life in their honor. They would want you to be happy. The last thing my daughter would want would be for her friends in recovery to feel guilty that they lived and she did not. She would want them to be happy. So live your life to the fullest so they can experience your happiness through you. And when you are feeling the happiest, look up and give them a smile. Thank you so much for having me here today and for listening to me. And I love you forever, sweet pea Brittany Rose. Thank you.